"Let my mother go," the boy said, "and I'll make you walk again." The courtroom froze. Reporters stopped typing. Lawyers turned. Even the guards stiffened. At the front of the room, Judge Robert Hale sat in his wheelchair, his cold eyes lifting slowly toward the small boy standing near the defense table. Then laughter broke out. Not cruel laughter, confused laughter. The kind people make when something sounds too stupid to be dangerous. The judge smiled slightly. "Sit down, son," he said. "This is not a playground." The boy didn't move. His name was Ethan Carter. He was 9 years old. His shoes were worn thin. His jacket was 2 sizes too big. Behind him, in handcuffs, his mother shook. "Ethan, please," she whispered. "Don't." Ethan didn't look back. He kept his eyes on the man in the wheelchair. "Free her," he said again. His voice didn't shake. That scared people more than shouting would have. Judge Hale leaned forward. "You think this is funny?" "No," Ethan said. "I think it's wrong." Another wave of laughter moved through the room. The prosecutor smirked. The victim's rich family whispered to each other, amused. Judge Hale tapped his gavel once. "Remove the child if he speaks again." The bailiff stepped forward. Ethan raised his hand. "If you take me away," he said, "you'll never walk again." Now the laughter stopped. The judge's smile faded. "Who told you I wanted to walk?" Judge Hale asked quietly. Ethan finally turned. He looked at his mother. Her face was pale. Her lips were trembling. She looked like she was already being buried. "They say she poisoned a man," Ethan said. "But she didn't." The prosecutor stood. "Your Honor, this is highly inappropriate. My sister died the same way," Ethan said. The room went silent. Even the air felt heavy. "What did you say?" Judge Hale asked. Ethan swallowed once. "She died in a hotel in Midtown. Same poison. Same pain. Same lies." People shifted in their seats. The rich family in the front row stiffened. Ethan looked at them. "You were there," he said. One of the men stood up. "That's enough." Ethan turned back to the judge. "You lost your legs near that hotel, too," he said. "Did you ever ask why?" Judge Hale's hands tightened on his wheelchair. The courtroom was no longer laughing. It was breathing carefully now. Ethan took one step forward. "Let my mother go," he said softly. "And I'll give you back what they took." The judge's voice was low. "Bailiff, don't touch him." Gasps spread through the room. The prosecutor stared. "Your Honor." "Sit," Judge Hale said. The bailiff froze. Ethan closed his eyes. For a second, nothing happened. Then Judge Hale felt something. Not pain, not strength. A memory. Of standing. Of walking. Of running before someone pushed him into silence. His fingers trembled. "Boy," he whispered. "What are you?" Ethan opened his eyes. "Just someone who remembers," he said. And in that moment, no one in that courtroom knew whether they were watching a miracle, a lie, or the beginning of the most dangerous truth New York had ever buried. They called her a monster before they ever called her by her name. On the morning news in New York, her face filled the screen. A tired face. A scared face. A face that did not know how to defend itself. "Hotel worker accused of poisoning billionaire guest," the headline said. They didn't say mother. They didn't say widow. They didn't say woman who worked double shifts. They just said killer. Her name was Maria Carter, and by the time she walked into the Manhattan courthouse in chains, the city had already decided who she was. People stood outside with signs. "Lock her up. Justice for the rich. Monsters don't deserve mercy." Maria kept her eyes down. She had worn her best dress, the blue one she only used for church. It was wrinkled from sleeping in it the night before. She hadn't slept anyway. Inside, she felt every stare like a stone hitting her skin. She wasn't strong. She wasn't brave. She was just a woman who had cleaned rooms at the Grand Meridian Hotel for 12 years. 12 years of scrubbing floors. 12 years of changing sheets. 12 years of saying, "Yes, sir," and "Sorry, ma'am." And now they said she poisoned a billionaire in one of those rooms. She didn't even know how to pronounce the poison's name. When they sat her at the defense table, she finally looked back. Her son was there. Ethan. Small. Quiet. Standing too straight for a child who should be scared. Her hands shook. "Ethan," she whispered. "Why are you here?" He leaned close. "Because you are not alone," he said. That made her eyes burn. She wanted to tell him to go home, to be a child, to not watch his mother be broken in public. But she didn't have the strength to push him away. Across the room, cameras clicked. On the other side sat the family of the dead man. They wore black, but not for sadness. For power. The man who died was named Richard Holloway. He owned buildings in New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles. Hotels, hospitals, law firms. Half the city had something with his name on it. People said he was generous. People said he was brilliant. People said he didn't lose. Now he was dead in a hotel room, and they needed someone to pay. Maria remembered that night. She had cleaned his room earlier, changed the sheets, replaced the glasses. She even fixed the curtains because he complained about the light. She left. That was it. Hours later, he was found dead. They said poison was in his drink. They said her fingerprints were on the glass. Of course they were. She had washed it. They didn't mention that. They didn't mention the broken camera in the hallway. They didn't mention the missing security footage. They didn't mention the man in a suit who walked out before the body was found. They only mentioned her. The judge rolled in. Judge Robert Hale. People whispered when he entered. He used to be a runner. He used to hike. He used to dance with his wife. Then one accident took his legs. Some said it made him bitter. Some said it made him cruel. Maria had never cared who judged her. Until today. He looked at her like she was already gone. "Bring in the accused," he said. She was already sitting there. That's how small she felt. The prosecutor stood. Tall. Clean suit. Perfect smile. His name was Daniel Brooks. He spoke like someone who had never been poor. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, "a great man is dead." The Holloway family bowed their heads. A man who gave this city jobs, buildings, hope. Maria stared at the table. "And the person who took his life," Brooks continued, "is sitting right there." He pointed. Every camera turned to her. Maria wanted to disappear. She was alone with him that day, Brooks said. Her fingerprints are on the glass. The poison came from a cleaning supply closet she had access to. That was a lie. She never had keys to that closet. But lies walked confidently in court. Truth walked barefoot. Her lawyer tried to speak. A tired man. Cheap suit. No power behind his voice. "My client has no criminal record," he said. "She is a mother. A worker with access," Brooks interrupted. Laughter whispered through the room. Maria felt something break in her chest. She turned and looked at Ethan. He was watching everything. Not scared. Focused. Like he was counting every lie. She leaned close. "Promise me something," she whispered. "What?" "If they take me, you don't hate the world." He looked at her. "I don't hate the world," he said. "I just don't trust it." That scared her more than the trial. The prosecutor called the first witness. "A hotel manager." He said Maria acted nervous that day. He said she asked strange questions. He said she stayed late. Maria shook her head. She stayed late because a guest spilled wine. She asked questions because a room was locked. She was nervous because her paycheck was late. But no one wanted simple truth. They wanted a story, and stories need villains. Then they brought in a witness, a man who said he saw Maria near the drink. Maria had never seen him before. He wouldn't look at her. He wouldn't look at Ethan. He only looked at the prosecutor. Maria whispered to her lawyer. "He's lying." Her lawyer whispered back. "I know. But they don't care," she said. Her lawyer didn't answer. During a break, they led her to a small room. Cold walls. Metal chair. She put her head in her hands. "I didn't do this," she whispered to no one. Her thoughts went to her daughter, Lily, gone 2 years now, dead from unknown causes. Same pain, same sickness. Doctors said it was fate. Maria never believed that. When they brought her back, Ethan was standing. That was when he spoke. That was when the courtroom laughed. That was when everything began to change. But before miracles, there is always pain. And Maria had already lived in it a long time. She looked at the judge. She looked at the rich family. She looked at her son. And she thought, if the world is going to destroy me, I pray it does not destroy him too. She did not know yet that her son was not there to watch her fall. He was there to break the lie that built the world around them. Power has a smell. In New York, it smells like polished marble, cold glass, and money that never sleeps. Richard Holloway owned half of that smell. Before he died, people called him a king without a crown. He had buildings in Manhattan that touched the clouds, hotels in Las Vegas where celebrities disappeared, hospitals in California where the rich were healed first. His name opened doors. His money closed mouths. And now he was dead. But death did not make him weak. It made him dangerous, because dead men cannot defend themselves. So powerful people defend them instead. His family arrived at court every day in black cars. Not hearses. Armored cars. Private drivers. Security men. Lawyers with faces like stone. His wife, Eleanor Holloway, never cried. She sat straight. Perfect hair. Perfect makeup. Perfect control. Beside her sat her son, Andrew Holloway. Young. Angry. Wearing grief like a weapon. This woman killed my father, Andrew told reporters. She deserves everything she gets. Cameras loved him. He looked like pain. Behind him, Zatman in dark suits. No one knew their names, but everyone knew their power. They were from Holloway Holdings, from law firms, from hospitals with his name on the walls. They weren't there for justice. They were there for protection. Inside the courtroom, they watched Maria like she was a disease. Outside, they fed the city a story. She was poor. She was angry. She wanted money. None of that was true. But truth does not own newspapers. Money does. Every night, the news showed Maria's face. Every night, they showed Holloway's buildings. The message was simple. Look what she destroyed. Look what we must protect. No one talked about the broken camera. No one talked about missing footage. No one talked about the man in a gray suit. That man existed only in Ethan's memory. The night Richard Holloway died, Ethan was outside the hotel. He was waiting for his mother to finish work. He saw a man leave through the side door. Tall. Expensive shoes. Phone to his ear. The man dropped something. A small silver card. Ethan picked it up. The man never noticed. The card had a logo. A hospital logo. A hospital where Ethan's sister died. He still had that card. He still carried it in his pocket. But he didn't show it. Not yet. In court, the Holloway lawyer stood. Her voice was sharp. She talked about loss. She talked about family. She talked about legacy. She didn't talk about lies. When Maria's lawyer tried to speak, she cut him off. When witnesses changed stories, she smiled. When evidence went missing, she said nothing. Money didn't argue. Money waited. During lunch break, Andrew Holloway walked past Ethan. He leaned down. "You like making scenes?" Andrew said. Ethan looked up. "You like making graves?" he asked. Andrew froze. Security stepped forward. Andrew smiled. "You don't know who you're talking to," he said. "I know what you're hiding," Ethan said. Andrew laughed. "Kids don't know anything." That was when Ethan knew. They were afraid. Not of him, of what he might say. That night, news broke. New evidence links hotel worker to poison. It was fake. It was printed anyway. Maria cried in her cell. Ethan stared at the wall. He whispered his sister's name. Lily. He promised her once that he would not forget what he saw, and he would not let the wrong person pay. Outside, powerful people celebrated. Inside, a child prepared for war, because the man money protected had buried too many truths, and one small voice was about to dig them up. Before he sat in a wheelchair, Robert Hale used to run at sunrise. Every morning in Central Park. Same path, same rhythm, same breath. Running was the only time his mind was quiet. He had become a judge because he believed in balance, right and wrong, truth and lies, weak and strong. He used to believe the law could fix things. Then the accident happened. One night, 10 years ago, he was driving home from a meeting near a hotel in Midtown. He never talked about why he was there. A truck ran a red light. That was the story. His car flipped. His legs were crushed. Doctors at New York Presbyterian Hospital saved his life. They could not save his legs. People said he became cold after that. They were wrong. He became empty. Hope felt like a lie to him. Miracles felt like insults. So when a little boy said, "I'll make you walk again," Hale didn't feel angry. He felt tired. Tired of stories. Tired of promises. Tired of believing in things that break. He looked at Ethan and saw not magic, but danger. Because people who promise impossible things usually bring chaos. That night, after court, Hale couldn't sleep. He sat in his apartment, lights off, staring at the city. He kept hearing the boy's voice. Did you ever ask why? Why had the accident happened exactly where it did? Why had the investigation ended so fast? Why did certain names disappear from the report? He told himself to stop. He told himself it didn't matter. But something in his chest hurt not his body. His memory. The next day, he asked for old files. Quietly. He didn't tell his assistant why. He searched for the accident report. Half of it was missing. Names blacked out. Photos gone. That never happened. Unless someone paid for it to happen. In court, he watched the trial differently now. He watched the Holloway lawyers. Too calm. Too sure. He watched the prosecutor. Too confident. He watched Maria. Too broken. And he watched Ethan. Not like a child. Like a witness. At lunch, Hale rolled past a window and saw the Holloway cars outside. Black. Shiny. Untouchable. He suddenly remembered a man in a gray suit. A man who had visited him in the hospital years ago. The man said, "You're lucky to be alive, Judge." Hale had said, "Lucky isn't what this feels like." The man had smiled, then disappeared from his life. Until now, because Hale saw him again, sitting behind the Holloway family. Same face, same eyes, same shadow. That night, Hale dreamed he was running again. Then he fell, and no one came to help him. In the dream, a child stood nearby, watching, not smiling, not crying, just remembering. Hale woke up sweating. For the first time in years, he felt fear. Not of being broken, but of having been used. And the worst part? He didn't know by whom, or for what. But he knew one thing. If the boy was lying, everything would end soon. If the boy was telling the truth, then Hale had been sitting on a lie for 10 years. And the law he served had helped hide it. People said Ethan was quiet because he was scared. They were wrong. He was quiet because he was listening. He listened to lies. He listened to fear. He listened to things people thought children could not hear. When Lily died, no one asked him what he saw. They only told him what to forget. She had been sick for days. Pain. Burning. No doctor could explain it. At Cedars-Sinai in Los Angeles, they called it unknown poisoning. Unknown meant no one important wanted it known. Lily had gone on a school trip to New York that year. Her class stayed at a Midtown hotel, the same one where Richard Holloway later died. Ethan remembered the night his sister got sick. A man in a gray suit came to their hospital room. He talked to the doctor quietly. Then the doctor changed his face. After that, no one answered questions. When Lily died, a nurse cried, but the doctor didn't. Years later, Ethan saw that same man leave the hotel the night Holloway died. Same walk, same phone, same cold eyes. Ethan followed him with his eyes. Then the man dropped the silver card. A Hospital card. The same logo as Cedars-Sinai. That was when Ethan knew. This wasn't an accident. He kept the card hidden. He listened to adults talk. He watched people lie. And he waited. When they arrested his mother, he stopped waiting, because now the lie was trying to take the only person he had left. That night, in the jail visiting room, Maria held his face. I'm scared, she whispered. So am I, he said. But not of them. She asked. Then of what? Of forgetting, he said. She didn't understand. He didn't explain. Some truths are too heavy for the people you love. In court, when he spoke, he didn't shout. He didn't cry. He spoke like someone who had carried a secret too long. When people laughed, he didn't flinch. Because he wasn't talking to them. He was talking to the lie. And lies always listen when they feel threatened. Ethan didn't know if the judge would walk. He didn't know if miracles were real. He only knew this. Someone had killed his sister. Someone had framed his mother. And someone powerful was hiding. So he spoke. Not because he believed in magic, but because he believed in memory. And memory is more dangerous than any miracle. Because memory does not disappear. It waits, just like he did. Once the boy spoke, the lies began to panic. That was how Ethan could tell. Before, the courtroom moved slowly, confidently, like it already knew the ending. Now everything rushed. New witnesses appeared overnight. Old witnesses, remembered, new details. Papers were filed that no one had seen before. Truth doesn't hurry. Lies do. The prosecutor, Daniel Brooks, smiled more. Too much. He started using Ethan's words against Maria. Even her own son admits poison is part of her family's story, Brooks said. Ethan stared at him. Brooks didn't look back. The judge listened. Not cold now. Careful. A doctor was called to testify. He said the poison could come from cleaning supplies. Maria had never touched that closet, but the doctor said she could have. Could was enough. The jury shifted. They wanted certainty. They were being fed maybes. Outside, headline screamed, "Child admits family history of poison." Mother hid, dark past. Ethan read the screens. He didn't cry. He memorized them. Because lies leave patterns, and patterns leave doors. The hotel manager returned. He changed his story. Now he said Maria argued with the victim. That never happened. But now it sounded better. More dramatic. More sellable. Maria whispered, "He's lying." Ethan squeezed her hand. "Let him," he said. "He's showing us where to look." At night, Ethan walked home alone. He watched cars. He watched shadows. He followed one man for 3 blocks. Then he stopped. The man stopped too. They stared at each other. The man smiled. "Go home, kid," he said. Ethan went, but he remembered the face. The next day, the judge asked a strange question. "Where's the hallway camera footage?" he said. The prosecutor froze for half a second. "Technical failure," he said. "That happens," Hale replied. "Too often." The Holloway lawyer shifted. Ethan felt it. Fear. Not big. Small. But real. That night, someone broke into Maria's apartment. Nothing was stolen. Only papers. Ethan knew which ones. He said nothing. He just moved his secret. Because when lies grow loud, it means they're scared of being heard. The first time Lily died, only her family cried. The second time, a courtroom went silent. Ethan stood again. Not because he wanted to. Because the lie had grown too big. "My sister died from the same poison," he said. The room changed. No laughter this time. No whispers. Only waiting. "She was 12, Ethan said. She went on a school trip to New York. She stayed in a hotel near Times Square. Some jurors leaned forward. The prosecutor stood fast. "Your Honor, this is emotional manipulation." "It's a pattern," Ethan said. The judge lifted his hand. "Let him speak." Maria's heart shook. Ethan looked at her once. Then, at the court, she got sick the same night a man in a gray suit visited her hospital room. The Holloway family stiffened. Ethan continued. "That same man left the hotel the night Mr. Holloway died." Now people gasped. "He dropped this," Ethan said, holding up the silver card. "A hospital card. Same logo as the hospital where Lily died." "Someone wants poison to disappear," Ethan said. "They make people forget." The Holloway lawyer stood. "This is fantasy," but her voice was thin. The judge leaned forward. "What hospital is that?" he asked. "Cedars Sinai," Ethan said. Judge Hale's face changed, because that name lived in his past. The prosecutor tried to move on, but the room was no longer his. People were thinking, and thinking is dangerous, because thinking breaks stories. And this story was starting to crack. After the boy spoke, the room never felt the same again. People still sat in their seats. They still wore their suits. They still followed the rules. But their eyes had changed. Eyes that once watched for entertainment, now watched for danger. The Holloway family whispered too much. Their lawyers wrote too fast. The prosecutor drank water like he was choking. Judge Hale ended court early. No one argued. Outside, reporters rushed Ethan. "Who is the man in the gray suit? Where did you get the card? Are you making this up?" Ethan said nothing. Silence made them angrier than lies ever could. That night, Judge Hale stayed in his chambers long after the building emptied. He rolled to a locked cabinet. He hadn't opened it in years. Inside were the remains of his accident file. Burned edges. Missing photos. Names crossed out. He compared it to the hospital name, Ethan said. Cedars-Sinai. His hands began to shake, because one of the doctors who signed his discharge papers worked there before moving to New York. Hale remembered now. A gray-suited man had visited him in the hospital too. Not to help. To close something. The next day in court, Hale watched the Holloway lawyer closely. She smiled, but her eyes kept moving, like she was looking for an exit. The prosecutor called another witness, a chemist. He said the poison was rare, expensive, not something a cleaner could get. The courtroom murmured. He tried to save it. But sometimes rare things appear in poor places. No one believed him. Even he didn't. During break, a man followed Ethan into the hallway. Gray suit. Not the same man, but the same shadow. "Stop talking," the man said quietly. Ethan looked up. "No," he said. The man bent lower. "You don't know what you're waking up." Ethan answered, "I know what you're trying to keep asleep." That night, Maria was moved to another cell. "For safety," she cried. Ethan knew what it meant. Someone was afraid she might talk too. Power had begun to sweat. And when power sweats, it starts to smell like fear. Some truths are too small to matter. Others are too dangerous to live. Ethan carried one of the dangerous ones in his pocket. Not the silver card. Something older. Something heavier. The night Lily died, Ethan had been playing on his mother's old phone. Battery almost dead. Cracked screen. No password. When the man in the gray suit came into the hospital room, he told the nurse to step out. But Lily didn't stop recording. She liked pretending she was a reporter. She held the phone under her blanket. The camera faced nothing, but the sound caught everything. The man's voice. The doctor's answers. The lie being built in real time. When Lily died, no one checked her phone. They checked her body. They checked the bed. They checked nothing that could talk back. Years later, Ethan found the file, hidden in the phone's memory, labeled "Practice." He listened, and he understood why people were dying. In court, after the chemist spoke, Ethan stood again. The room tensed like a wire about to snap. "I have something," Ethan said. The prosecutor laughed. "Another story?" "No," Ethan said. "A voice." Judge Hale leaned forward. "What voice?" "My sister's," Ethan said. "And the man who killed her." Silence fell so hard it felt loud. Ethan reached into his pocket. He took out a small old phone, the kind nobody wanted anymore. "This phone recorded something," he said, "before she died." The Holloway lawyer stood fast. "Your Honor, this is ridiculous." Hale raised his hand. "Play it." The bailiff took the phone, connected it to the court system. The speaker crackled. Then a child's voice filled the room. "Testing," Lily whispered. "I'm a reporter." Some people smiled. Then a man spoke. Low, smooth, cold. "Doctor, we can't let this turn into a scandal." Another voice answered. "Nervous. But she's dying." "That's not our problem," the man said. "The poison wasn't meant for her." Gasps spread. "You said it would be untraceable," the doctor whispered. "It is," the man said. Unless someone starts asking the wrong questions. The child coughed in the background. Weak. Small. Make the report say natural causes, the man continued. Your hospital will be rewarded. The recording cut off. No one breathed. Maria cried out. That's my baby, she said. The Holloway family stood. This is fake, Andrew shouted. Judge Hale slammed the gavel. Sit. The prosecutor stared at the floor. He looked like someone who had just realized he was standing on a grave. Ethan spoke again. That man's voice is the same one who left the hotel when Mr. Holloway died. The Holloway lawyer whispered to her team. Too late. The room had already turned. Truth had walked in, and it did not ask permission. Judge Hale looked at the court. This recording will be examined by federal authorities, he said. The Holloway lawyer stood. Your Honor, this court is being manipulated by a child. Hale's voice was calm. No, he said. This court has been manipulated by adults. Ethan looked at the judge. You remember him, he said quietly. Hale didn't answer, but his hands were shaking, because he did remember, and remembering was starting to hurt worse than never walking. One truth can change a story, but many truths can burn a world. The recording did not just expose a crime, it exposed a system. That night, news stations across America played the audio, not the whole thing, just enough. A man saying, the poison wasn't meant for her. A doctor saying, but she's dying. The city woke up angry. People who never cared about Maria now spoke her name. People who loved Holloway now asked questions. And powerful people began to run. By morning, the Holloway family's lawyers were on every channel. This is a manipulated recording, they said. A child is being used. This is emotional fraud. But the hospital named in the recording went silent. No statements, no denials. Silence is louder than lies. Federal agents arrived at the courthouse. Not in uniform, in quiet suits. They asked for files. They asked for names. They asked for recordings. Judge Hale signed every paper. His hands no longer shook, because shaking is what people do when they are afraid. He was past fear. The prosecutor, Daniel Brooks, didn't come to court that day. They said he was sick, but his office lights were off. His phone went to voicemail. By afternoon, they found him. Not dead. Gone. His apartment empty. No clothes. No pictures. No files. Like he never lived there. The Holloway lawyer quit. So did the second one. So did the third. By evening, Andrew Holloway was taken in for questioning. His mother disappeared. News said she went out of the country. No one believed it. Ethan watched all of this on a small TV in the waiting room. Maria sat beside him. Free now. Not safe. Free is not the same as safe. She held his hand like it might vanish. You did this, she whispered. No, Ethan said. The truth did. That night, Judge Hale called Ethan into his chambers. Not as a judge. As a man, I knew that voice, Hale said. The man on that recording visited me in the hospital after my accident. Ethan nodded. He makes people forget, Ethan said. Hale closed his eyes. They told me my crash was random, he said. But someone erased half the file. Ethan said nothing, because Hale already knew. Your sister wasn't meant to die, Hale whispered. No, Ethan said. But she wasn't meant to be forgotten either. Hale opened his eyes, and for the first time in 10 years, he felt rage, not at his legs. At the lie that took them, the federal agents returned. They brought names, doctors, lawyers, executives, all connected, all protected. Until now, one of the agents looked at Hale. This goes higher than Holloway. Hale asked, how high? The agent answered, high enough to fall hard. Outside, cameras waited. Inside, power was breaking. And when power breaks, it cuts everything near it, including the people who once believed they were untouchable. Truth has a shadow. Sometimes that shadow lies. The first twist freed Maria. The second one would break Ethan. The federal investigation moved fast. Too fast. People were arrested. Companies fined. Hospitals raided. But something felt wrong. Too clean. Too easy. Ethan noticed it first. The gray-suited man was never named. Not once. Every report said unknown operative. Every charge stopped just before his name. Ethan asked an agent, "Who was he?" The agent said, "We're still looking." But his eyes said, "Stop asking." That night, Ethan's phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. A voice he knew too well said, "You think you won." Ethan froze. "You only touched the branches," the voice continued. "You never saw the root." "Where is my sister's file?" Ethan asked. The man laughed softly. "She wasn't your sister," he said. Ethan's heart stopped. "What?" "She was placed," the man said. "Like you." Silence swallowed the world. "You were both part of a test," the man said. "A loyalty experiment. You failed. She paid." The call ended. Ethan dropped the phone. His life tilted. Every memory bent. Maria rushed in. "What happened?" Ethan whispered. "Lily wasn't my sister." Maria went pale. "That's a lie," she said. Ethan shook his head. "They said she was placed." That night, Hale called Ethan again. "I found something," Hale said. "Adoption records. Sealed ones." They met. Hale slid a file across the desk. Ethan opened it. Inside was Lily's photo, but under Parent, it did not say Maria. It said, Guardian, M. Holloway Foundation. Ethan looked up slowly. "They owned her," he said. "They owned the story," Hale answered. The second twist had arrived. The child who died for the truth was never supposed to belong to anyone, and the boy who fought for her had been fighting inside a lie his whole life. Some truths don't free you. They rewrite you. And Ethan was about to learn. He was never meant to survive the story. When a truth rewrites you, you don't know where to stand. Ethan walked the city all night, past dark windows, past quiet stores, past people who had no idea his life had just been erased. If Lily wasn't his sister, then what was she? And what was he? The gray-suited man's words kept echoing. You were both part of a test. A test of what? Obedience? Silence? Loyalty? Ethan remembered things that never made sense before. Men who watched too closely. Teachers who asked strange questions. Doctors who wrote too much. He wasn't raised. He was observed. Maria found him near the river at dawn. She looked smaller than she ever had. "I don't care what papers say," she said. "You are my son." Ethan wanted to believe her, but belief was breaking. "Why didn't you tell me?" he asked. Her eyes filled. "They told me I'd lose you," she said. "They said Lily was temporary. You were permanent. I was supposed to treat you both the same." He felt sick. "You knew?" "I knew something," she said. "Not everything." Ethan turned away. That night, Judge Hale received a package. No return address. Inside was a flash drive. And a note. Asterisk. Asterisk. You missed the real experiment. Asterisk. Asterisk. They played the files together. Videos of children. Different cities. Different families. All poor. All watched. Each child labeled. Observer off. Control. Sacrifice. Lily's label. Sacrifice. Ethan's. Observer. Hale whispered. They were studying how children react to injustice. How they break, Ethan said. And who speaks? Hale answered. More files appeared, showing people who grew up. Some became lawyers. Some became doctors. Some became politicians. All once labeled as children. All now powerful. Ethan stared. They built their future leaders, he said. By breaking kids. And seeing which one still tried to save someone, Hale said. One file was marked. Asterisk, asterisk. Failure subject spoke. Asterisk, asterisk. It was Ethan. The doorbell rang. They froze. Through the camera, they saw him. Gray suit. Same calm face. Open, the man said through the speaker. You deserve answers. Hale rolled back. Ethan stood. I deserve the truth, he said. The door opened. The man smiled like a teacher proud of a student. You ruined years of work, he said. But you proved our theory. Ethan asked. What theory? That even when we own everything, the man said, some voices still don't belong to us. Ethan felt something strange. Not fear. Purpose. They could design children, control systems, rewrite families. But they failed one thing. They failed to control a boy who refused to stay quiet. And that failure was about to become their end. The gray-suited man did not sit. He walked slowly around the room, like a man inside a museum he owned. You were never meant to survive this long, he said calmly. But you kept choosing the wrong thing. Ethan asked. The wrong thing for who? For us, the man answered. For the future we were building, Hale said. You built monsters. The man smiled. No, we built leaders. Monsters are just leaders without masks. He stopped in front of Ethan. You were special, he said. You saw injustice, and instead of adapting, you fought it. Ethan said, You call that failure? The man nodded. Yes, because obedience scales. Conscience does not. Hale secretly pressed the recorder under his desk. Ethan asked, Who are you really? The man paused. Everyone thinks power is money, he said. Money is noise. I am silence. He leaned closer. I move policies before votes. I move judges before trials. I move children before families. Hale said, And Lily. The man's eyes hardened. She was meant to die, he said. To teach you restraint. Ethan's voice shook. She taught me to speak. The man sighed. Then she was wasted. Sirens wailed faintly outside. The man looked at the window. You brought the wolves early, he said to Hale. Hale answered. You stayed too long. The man smiled again. Even now, you think arrest matters. He pulled out a phone. One call, he said. And 3 cities will burn with scandal, Ethan said. Then why haven't you made it? The man stared at him. Because, he said slowly, for the first time in decades. I'm curious how this ends. He stepped toward the door. You already won the story, he said. But stories fade. Ethan said, Not this one. The man stopped. You think people will remember you? He asked. Ethan said, They'll remember what you did. The man laughed quietly. People don't remember truth, he said. They remember comfort. Then he opened the door and vanished into the hallway. Police arrived seconds later. Too late. Again, Hale looked at Ethan. He let himself be seen. Ethan answered, Because he thinks he still controls the ending. Outside, news vans filled the street. Inside, the recording had saved. His words, his voice, his truth. This time, silence had spoken. And it was louder than power. The man in the gray suit disappeared. But his voice did not. The recording Judge Hale made that night was clean, clear, undeniable. When it was released, the world listened. Not because they loved Ethan, but because they hated what the man admitted. He talked about moving judges, moving children, moving truth. And for the first time, silence lost. The federal government announced a new task force, international, unavoidable. Hospitals named in the files were shut down. Foundations were frozen. Executives vanished from boardrooms. Some were arrested. Some were found dead. Some were never found at all. But the gray-suited man? He became a rumor, a shadow people blamed when they were afraid. Maria and Ethan were moved again. New names, new city, new rules. Protection is just another kind of prison. One night, Maria asked, Do you wish you never spoke? Ethan looked at the dark window. No, he said, but I wish she could hear what happened. They buried Lily in a small cemetery in California. No cameras, no speeches. Just a boy who never got to say goodbye. Ethan whispered, They tried to use you, but you made me free. Months passed. The world moved on. It always does. But something strange began to happen. Children started talking about things they saw, things they weren't supposed to notice. things adults tried to ignore. Teachers wrote reports. Doctors asked questions. Journalists followed trails that used to end in silence. They called it the Ethan effect, a belief that even small voices mattered. One night, Ethan got a message from an unknown number. No name, no location, just 6 words. Asterisk, asterisk, you proved the experiment wrong. Asterisk, asterisk. Ethan stared at the screen, then typed back, asterisk, asterisk. You proved it never worked. Asterisk, asterisk. No reply came, but he knew. Somewhere, the man in the gray suit was still alive, still watching, still waiting. But this time, he wasn't studying children. He was afraid of them. Because the boy who wasn't supposed to speak had taught the world how. And once a voice is heard, it never really dies.